Well, hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Maggie Whitten-Henry. I'm a member of the ADHD PEI board, and I am beyond honored to welcome you to our first annual public meeting. First, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we're gathering here in Etobicoke, in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight. I'd like to, first I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of what we got planned for this evening, and then we'll get into it. So, as I mentioned, this is our first annual public meeting. In a moment, our founder and fearless leader, Sandy Slade, is going to talk a bit about who we are, what we do, where we're going, and how you can help. After that, there will be an opportunity to ask questions, and of course, we can maybe continue our chats and catching up. We're also live streaming on Facebook, so where's the camera right here? Hello, Facebook world. That stream will be up for about a while afterwards as well, so you can always rewatch if you feel like doing that or share it with other people. Appreciate any kind of sharing you can do. Before I hand over to Sandy, I want to give you a quick room tour. There's a few things going on here, and I want everyone to feel as at home as possible. So in the back table over there, we've got coffee and some tea as well. No decaf, unfortunately. I did not think about our audience, but there's fully caffeinated caffeine coffee, which you're welcome to help yourself to at any time. We've also got our brochures back there and over there, which I encourage you to grab some, maybe grab a few spares, so you've got some to give to other people. It's always nice to have them handy just in case. And we also have a few copies of a printed summary of tonight's presentation, which you're welcome to take as well. And there's also two little clipboards floating around. There's one there and maybe, not sure where the other one is, that have a sign-up sheet where you can sign up for our newsletter, and you need to be a volunteer as well. And last but not least, we've got some areas set up along the wall, and I've seen a few people contributing already, which is awesome. We'd like you to get involved in tonight. So we've got stories, support, sharing, and superpowers. And we'd like to know how ADHD PEI has helped you, so sharing your stories. I'm also curious to know what some of your favorite resources are, and what you'd like to see from us in the future, and some of your favorite things about having ADHD. So grab some Post-its, pop things up there. You're welcome to also just grab a stack of Post-its and a marker and write them as you go, which is what I'm going to be doing. And then we can also kind of mill around afterwards and do those. Okay, so I think that's everything. All right. So with that, I'd like to introduce our founder and executive director of ADHD PEI, Sandy Slade. Sandy is a registered social worker and passionate mental health advocate, and honestly one of the best networking people that I know. That's probably why we're all here today. Sandy founded ADHD PEI in 2018 and has been the driving force of the organization ever since. I'd love to take a moment to maybe make Sandy uncomfortable and maybe tear up a little bit and give him a big round of applause, because I want to congratulate him on everything he's done so far that got us to this point. So that's going to really set you off for a great start to your talk. So Sandy's going to take us through the main meat of the presentation tonight, talking about who we are, what we do, where we're going, and how you can help. There will be an opportunity for questions after the main presentation, so if you can hold on to your questions till then, that would be greatly appreciated. Again, you're welcome to grab Post-its and write things down if that helps. Over to you, Sandy.
All right.
Turn this.
We need to
Yes, we'll test you.
Test.
How's that?
Everybody hearing? Okay, cool.
Is it too loud or is it okay?
Too loud, everything good?
It's okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so if anybody's met me, they know I like to talk. I'm going to try and not be very long today, maybe 15, 20 minutes at most. Yeah, first thing we want to talk about kind of just a little bit about ADHD and a little bit about ADHD PEI for those who may just be walking in or who don't know a lot about what we do. And then we're going to go into what we do and a little bit of a recap of what we've done so far in our journey and as an organization. And then we're going to go just a brief little bit into where we're going, where we're hoping to go, and how you can get involved on this with us. Yeah, so just a little bit about ADHD. So a lot of people will know a lot about, like maybe you've heard ADHD, or it's one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorders of childhood. It's a chronic neurodevelopmental disorder, like it says there. Often diagnosed in childhood, can persist into adulthood. The affects 5 to 7% of the population, approximately 1.5 million Canadians. According to the ADHD clinic that opened up at UPEI, estimated between 7,500 and 10,000 people on PEI, I believe, have ADHD, and that was a conservative estimate. So there's definitely work to be done in terms of what we're hoping to do. But it's great to see you, everybody up today. I'm glad to see everyone. Yeah, so it impacts with critical brain function. So it'll be working memory, planning, response, inhibition, vigilance, emotional regulation. So those are a lot of big words, but the way I like to say it, and if you talk in the meeting, you probably heard it, ADHD is a little bit of a misnomer. It stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It's the way I like to say it is like, it's not necessarily like a deficit of attention, right? The way it is that ADHD is kind of a dysregulation, so an inability to regulate attention, behavior, and often emotion, right? So it's a kind of like often people have trouble transitioning from one thing to another thing, or get so involved and deep into one thing that they lose track of time and don't notice when they have another thing happening, right? Or they have an issue with time awareness. And they will get really, they will have a kind of awareness of, wanting to get everything done in not enough time, right? And so that makes people late, and so then you get into the things of what people see. Oftentimes in childhood it can look like hyperactivity. As it goes into adulthood for those who it remains with, which is, it seems from the research to be about a third of people kind of grow out of it or adapt, find ways to adapt. And 2/3 of people will go into adulthood with statistically diagnosable ADHD in adulthood if they've had it in childhood. There's also been an increasing diagnosis in people who are adults who was missed in childhood. So that's a little bit about ADHD. And it can interfere in every area of life, right? Any activity of daily living. So oftentimes when you think of activities of daily living, people are thinking about, brushing your teeth, eating, cleanliness. But what often ADHD impacts is the instrumental part of activities of daily living, which looks like being able to get yourself to work on time, taking care of pets, cooking healthy food, that kind of stuff. So yeah, about who we are as ADHD PEI. We're a registered not-for-profit grassroots organization, founded as a peer support group in 2018 by myself and a few others. So it started out as kind of 10-week. I knew I had ADHD. I was re-diagnosed in 2018, and was struggling at work, and was saying, okay, I need to find. I have experience with addiction, and I have experience with being a social worker, so I said I think we need to maybe start a support group to see if anybody else can understand, or if anybody else wants help. And after 10 weeks, we had about 5 or 6 people, some of whom are who are here today. And others who set publishes and stuff. So we continued the support group and became registered in 2021. After growing the group online and having the in-person meetings and doing some advocacy work, we kind of realized that was kind of the next step. And with that, we became the first province in Canada to have a province-wide ADHD-specific support organization. So there's no other province that has a province-wide advocacy group specifically for ADHD, which we're pretty proud of. So the mission for ADHD is for, we at ADHD PEI have a mission and vision that Prince Edward Island will be a place where people with ADHD are accepted, understood, and able to thrive through education, advocacy, and peer support. And those are the three pillars that we kind of are looking at how we're doing. That's how we measure ourselves by. So going on to that, we've had who our team is. So at the beginning, it was just me and the support groups. And then as we got more support groups and started to grow, we started to expand with the help of Startup Zone, with the help of and through the time. So we were able to bring on peer support facilitators through our own, through the support group that they identified as leaders in the group, and so we kind of recognized that and brought them up and helped to train them as facilitators. So we provided training. So we have, I want to recognize Gina Ferguson, Leon Gesso, who's the primary facilitator for our Summerside group, Chantel Lavoie, Julie Burnham, Pam Boulier, and myself. And then one of the reasons that we're having this meeting is that we expanded from kind of our operational board to have a more general board. And so we want to recognize the members of our board operations, our board and then our operational team. So in the operational team, we have Sandy Slade, myself, so Pam, Katie Rankin, Maggie, as well as Bruce, Jamie McDougall, Pat Sebastian, and Carolyn Thorne, Dr. Carolyn Thorne. So this is a little bit of overview of what we do. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of the key programming that we've done as an organization, and some of the education that we've been involved with, trying to educate people about ADHD, and then some of the initial advocacy stuff we've been beginning to do. So in terms of peer support, I would say our peer support is our DNA. It's kind of how we started and where we come from, so because it's a lot of the magic happens with ADHD PEI across the table, right, or across the Zoom meeting, as COVID is. But it's the kind of those popcorn moments when you realize you're not alone, right? When you can see kind of sometimes the good and the bad of what ADHD is, and start to see kind of hope for kind of managing the symptoms of ADHD, and also finding a community that understands what it's like. So we getting into some of the statistics. We have volunteer-led support groups for those who have ADHD and have a loved one with ADHD. So we have weekly support group meetings in Charlottetown online. We have bi-weekly support groups in Summerside, so that's 3. We also have some online groups. We do a weekly planning session on Sunday nights for individuals who are having issues with planning and prioritizing. And so that's something that we just started in 2023. We also have a Facebook support group where people answer questions and share stories and struggles and memes and just and questions. And we have loved ones, parents, individuals questioning if they have ADHD, and individuals with ADHD in this group. We're over 880 members of this online support group now, and it's a private members only. It's a safe space for people who on PEI have ADHD or impacted by ADHD to be able to ask questions, share experience, advice, and just connect with one another. We have our educational resources. We have this primarily looks like our website, and we had over 1,700 unique visits in 2022. So that's people that's organic from Google or from Facebook or from people just like searching ADHD PEI and then finding the resources from there. Those aren't as directly, those connections don't take up a lot of our time. It's often the first thing that people see, the first contact people have with us. And so we want people to have, a good impression and also be able to find the information that we provide. Because when I started, the only information when I got re-diagnosed was like Reddit, and basically looking to find, and there was no real guide for local supports, which is what we're hoping to do, and as well with our brochures that we've just printed, you can find at the back table. We have our brochures that we're going to be hopefully giving out to doctors and social workers and people that can be able to, when people get diagnosed or looking for support, or the child has an issue, they can get this guide that kind of shows what we do and what we want to provide, and also some direct resources as well on the back, so that they can kind of get a sense of people that can get a sense of what is trustworthy information. Because there's a lot of stuff, anybody that goes online knows that you can get overwhelmed with what's out there. We also, like I said, printed materials. Advocacy and community outreach. So we started in 2021, was primarily when we started doing our kind of more advocacy focus. So we've when the federal election took place, we created a one-page information sheet and gave it out to all of the federal candidates, and we were able to get a lot of them to answer it for the election, so that we could give that out to our community members and basically get the responses to see what their ideas and perspectives are on ADHD, as well as the issues that we identified as being important to the members. Similar thing, we did a shared story campaign in 2022 where we collected gave a survey online. And we're able to collect stories from the people that are in our Facebook group and our organization, and shared that with all the MLAs, and was able to network that into having some meaningful conversation with members of the government and ministers. So we've had as well in my work with Canadian Mental Health Association, who I also like to recognize for their in-kind donation of the boardroom every night for the last 4 years, or every Wednesday night for the last 4 years, so I appreciate that. In my work with them, I'm an employment support worker, so I was able to write a couple of things through the employment journey about neurodiversity in the workplace. And so I encourage everyone, we have some of those online if you're interested in advocating for yourself on accessibilities and kind of accommodations, to read some of those things, or maybe share that with your employer. It might be helpful. And also we have members of our organization that are available to talk to the press if people have a conversation, if people are interested in ADHD and having questions about it. So where we're hoping to go, and this is where we're going. So one of the things that is key, and I think is everybody's for the line, is you want to earn the right to speak, right, with people. And the reason advocacy kind of came last in the kind of as we developed is because we wanted to make sure that we had we're providing value, providing a say, and giving people much needed information. One of the things that as we go forward, as we expand and bring on with the governance model and doing more advocacy and maybe going into educational things, the primary thing we want to focus on is keeping the main thing, which is our peer support programming, which I'd like to be the go-to support for people with ADHD, right? And if people have kind of questions, then we can be a way of supporting them. In partnership with the different community organizations in health and education and different parts of the government, that we can be able to provide resources and support. And then from there, kind of say where things may be able to be improved or changed. But I think the primary focus needs to be on the people that come out every week to get support, who are struggling, who want to share, their life with us and, get help with it. So that's, again, that we want to continue to grow over this next year and focus really on providing excellent service across the island for anybody that needs help that has ADHD. We have brought in a new governance structure where we have a board that meets bi-weekly, the new board with Dr. Thorne and Pat Sebastian and Jamie McDougall and Bruce. Bringing in, and then, so then we have public events that we'd like to get to, bring about some volunteer things that we want to do over the year, some educational opportunities that may develop. And you can find us you can follow our social media or our website to get more updates on what's going to be there and what that might look like for the public events that are upcoming.
And the calendar.
And also the calendar, we have our calendar on our website. And can you subscribe to it? Anyway, it's on our website, the calendar of different things that we're going to be doing. Coming from a base of, providing care and support, we want to continue through events like this, through our open houses that happen every October, and through just other opportunities that come up to provide education and advocacy for individuals with ADHD, and maybe potentially have as speakers, and to just be a lot of different options for how people can help. So that goes into how you can get involved. So it says up there, it seems kind of boring, but we need doers, we need connectors, we need givers. So doers is like if what you've heard is exciting and you want to get involved, we have sign-up sheets to volunteer. We need people that are able to write, that like grant writing, if that's a skill that you have, or that you know somebody that might have that skill. We'd love to connect with you afterwards, as well as like financial expertise, budgeting, fundraising, or if you think that you have a skill that we're not like putting on here that would be valuable, and you're interested in getting involved and wanting to do things, please get connected with me over Facebook, email, contact at ADHD PEI, or sign up to one of the sheets. Connectors. So we are a grassroots, non-for-profit. Everybody here is volunteers at the moment. And so we need people to let people know that we exist, right? Let people know, get people involved in the community, get people engaged. And that's like sharing the word, whether it be through, someone that's struggling and recommending them or a meeting, whether that be bringing some brochures to your workplace if that's appropriate, or whether that be just sharing things on social media. And then givers, we do have a lot of things that we want to do, and we do have operating costs. So we're definitely welcome financial support and donations. We have a box over there as well at the back. You can also go online. We have connections.
It's on the box.
Oh, there's also connections on the box. We're ready to go. As well, we don't at the moment have. We can't give charitable receipts as we're not a charity at the moment. We're simply not for profit. We can, if you would like a receipt in terms of just for your own tracking, we can give that and provide that. I just wanted to clarify that as well, that if you were thinking about giving a donation, that charitable receipts are not possible at the moment, but we would very much welcome it. Because I think we're doing a lot of really cool things, and I'd love to chat more with every one of you about it, and I could go on for ages, and I'm not going to do that. So that's it. All right.
I'll get my stick and call you off. I'm going to actually steal that mic from you because I'm so used to presenting on Zoom where I can see my script in front of me. I'm not used to reading, and I'd like to be able to make a little bit more eye contact. Let's see if I can make this work. Oh dear. How's that? Hey, my neck feels good too. Okay. Thank you so much, Sandy. And thank you all for your patience as I figure out this technical stuff. So like Sandy said, we can go back to, let's get the other side up a little bit. I'm just going to talk about that for a second. Thank you.
This one?
Yeah, the circles. Like everything that Sandy said, we are a nonprofit. All of our programming is free, so we don't charge anybody to come to the peer support groups or anything. So we'd like to keep it that way. So donations definitely help with that, as well as great writing skills, bring in money as well. So definitely think about how you could possibly take on one or any of those roles. You don't have to have ADHD. We welcome all kinds of brains and skill sets. And honestly, just letting someone know that we exist, as simple as that sounds, can actually have a huge impact. Because we are at that point where people just genuinely don't know that we exist. So it's as easy as giving someone just a website can really make a difference. And everybody can be a connector. Even just, like I said, spreading the word can help to build awareness and understanding, which makes our mission a reality for PEI to be a place where folks with ADHD can be accepted, understood, and able to thrive. So thank you all so much for being here tonight and for your continued support in making all of this happen. We'll take questions. I'll probably pull Sandy back up here in a second if there's any questions. And reminders, we've got the post-it areas, and there's heaps of coffee.
And snacks.
And brochures. I'll be definitely taking a couple cups home with me. Take a couple cups of coffee with me. So at that point, welcome any questions if anybody has any questions at all. Yeah.
Hi. I would like to know a little bit more about the meetings. What happens?
Sure.
The Wednesday and the Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to put Sandy up for that. He's
Sure.
a meeting person.
Yep.
We'll just get back to you. I'll just
All
share
right,
it
that's
from
fine.
now on.
Cool. That works. Yeah, no, I can just stay up here for more
Yeah.
questions. Can I hear? It works? Okay. Yeah, so normally for the meetings that happen on Wednesdays, so all of them happen on Wednesdays from 7:30 to 9. And sometimes a little later, but the official time is 7:30 to 9. And what we do is normally
Put your hands down, sir.
Sorry,
Oh,
it's because I made
is it
it
doing
longer.
it? Oh, okay, that's
Shorter.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yes, what we normally do is first we'll take 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 to just kind of chat, and then we have a little blurb we read out about ADHD PEI and about our kind of core values and beliefs and how the meeting runs. And then we do a kind of go around the room really quickly and be like, hey, what do you think? And sometimes it's not quickly, but hey, how was your week? What's new? Like, how are you? What are you struggling? Are things successful?
New people can introduce.
Yeah, new people can introduce themselves. And then after that, or you can say pass, and you don't have to speak. But and then after that, the facilitator, if they feel comfortable to pull something out of what people were talking about, if there's a common theme, or read from or like play a video and discuss the video, or like have a topic, exercise, or like getting to bed on time, or like relationships, or like any kind of topic that, and we've had somebody read a book and really enjoyed it, and then made that the topic. So that's the Wednesday night meetings. We also have with the Sunday night meetings, it's more of there's a word in ADHD kind of like community called body doubling, which is the idea of doing something with somebody. And so often what it is for that is I have kind of like a 5 or 6 steps to do a basic outline for your week. And that's what I've been kind of like cobbling together for myself over the last little while. And the reason I'm doing it is because I also need help with the organizing the week and everything. And so I find it much more helpful to have the accountability of going to the same place every week and doing it, and doing it with others. And that's on Zoom as well, so it's just online. And so that's what the online and the in-person meetings. That's what we do.
Any other questions? I probably don't need the mic, do I? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sweet, I'm louder than I thought.
Okay, have another.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I'm new in this, so I have a lot of
And I guess I should
questions.
say, there's no such thing as a silly question, so like bring them out, it's fine. Yeah.
Alright. I know you can get a diagnosed through the PEI clinic. Is there any other ways?
That's a great question.
Mike's not on.
It's not on.
It is, I
No,
think it's
it's
the
just way
volume.
down. That is a great question. I believe,
Yeah.
there
So,
any other ways?
yeah, I think. So I mean, and
I can also,
I would say like that. A psychiatrist, a psychologist can diagnose.
yeah, that's,
There are some family doctors who feel comfortable kind of looking into the process of and exploring the process with the individual in terms of prescribing and in terms of looking into it. I'm not a doctor, and the primary thing that we say is that we are not professionals. We're a peer support group. So there may be things that people can identify of like, ooh, if you go to this resource, you may be able to get connected with someone who can help with diagnosis or help with medication or something. But I think the best thing to do would be to talk to your family doctor if you have one, or if you don't, like connect with the UPI clinic, or if you're in a crisis mental health walking clinic or 911 mental health stuff is a crisis. So and then when we're also a little bit of a bridge in terms of like we have a lot of people who will come who haven't been diagnosed yet. Diagnosis isn't required to come to the meetings. Some people we make a joke that it could be a diagnostic criteria if we need to sit for like an hour and a half with a bunch of people with ADHD. I'm kidding, but
just barely.
but you can kind of there's kind of having that community support can be helpful to provide those supports and when you're going through the process and waiting and not sure where to turn.
I might just add as well to that, I was diagnosed like 15 years ago, but I have a friend who was diagnosed on PEI fairly recently, like in the last couple of years. And so I'm saying this as a peer, not as an official person, but she sort of did a lot of homework beforehand and did, some of the self tests and stuff, and kind of just like tried to get herself as organized as possible so that she felt like she was putting her case forward. She did have a difficult time with her doctor, which is unfortunate because it just kind of makes you kind of feel, even more struggling. But she definitely found that helped. And
but not
yeah.
If you have a family doctor that doesn't feel comfortable referring, and then you can self-refer, I think, but still to the provincial ADHD clinic. And so what happens, like a nurse practitioner will then go through the diagnosis process and go to the application and stuff. So so if you're having issues with that you can there's one online as well in terms of self-diagnosis.
And just because a doctor doesn't believe you doesn't mean it's not real.
Oh,
It doesn't work when you hold it.
okay.
I think there's another hand
I was
over here
hoping.
somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I got diagnosed in 2018, and I only heard about this whole thing 6 months ago. Us as people, we have to spread the word. Really, to be serious, I didn't even know about it. There's lots of people that are on social media, and we probably, us as a group, we got to spread the word because I'm serious. I never knew about this until I talked to Dr. Wong because I wanted to come off some medications. And Dr. Wong suggested to come here, and I didn't know anything about it until 6 months ago. But 6 months, not even 6 months ago, 3 months ago.
I would be thrilled if everybody can take a bunch of brochures and we have none left at the end of the night, honestly. Like, take them and then you just have them give them to people because those stickers, just anything that lets people know, like a visual reminder that we exist.
I think it's a
help
great thing.
yourself.
I think
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's just, I wish I would have known
Yeah.
about this before.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did not know that. I think it's great.
I'm glad you're here.
Glad to see it.
Any discussion within the peer support or in regards to other disabilities that run hand in hand with ADHD? For example, auditory processing is one that runs quite a bit, because that's something else that I have. And I do find it very difficult to be in a place and listen to somebody for a long period of time, especially if it's faster speaking or whatever. So, no, and it really makes for an additional, like, it does make it difficult to be at a meeting for that length of time if that's an addition. And I know that it's very common for it to run hand in hand with ADHD. So I'm wondering if there's discussions around those running hand in hand and how you deal with that issue.
I think accessibility in general is.
Yeah, I mean, so this is just off the top of my head, I would say, I think people have gotten value of the Facebook group. So there may be, the potential. What's cool about a support about a grassroots organization is you can be flexible, right? And this isn't saying like and also the cool thing about ADHD is you have a million ideas a minute, right? So, or you can't. So, there may be things that we can bring in about, maybe having in the future a meeting that's over text or over chat or something, or maybe like a text-based thing. But again, I'm not like solidifying saying we're going to do that. I think the best thing what we would say is that comorbidities are very common. 70% of people with ADHD have a learning disability, and 70% of people with learning disability have ADHD. And so, not saying that auditory processing is a learning disability, but there's also comorbidities with depression. There's comorbidities with autism. There's a lot of there's a lot of different things that can stack, right? Including gender things in menopause
Menopause.
Yeah,
It's a big deal.
hormones isn't often tested when with medication and other things, there's stuff that hasn't been done. So with that being said, we're a small organization. I think we will do the best we can to accommodate individuals when they have issues. Yeah, that's what I can say. I think we would do everything we can to accommodate people when they have issues. Yeah, did you have something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you I'm going to try to speak a bit slower because I know I talk really quickly when I'm doing these things. So thank you for reminding me of that. I'm glad you brought that up because I think so often, the external, visible sort of stereotyped or reality of hyperactivity and sort of, loud talking and everything is sort of what people think of the most. But there are a lot of us who don't necessarily, or maybe are like that, but are better, feel more comfortable in a different kind of environment. So I don't go to any of the peer support sessions because I feel like I would be completely burnt out afterwards. That's where I find the Facebook group is quite handy because I can kind of just pop in and see what's going on and engage at whatever sort of level I feel like. But I think you raised a great point that there's maybe more people out there who would maybe like to sort of have a different sort of format available. We all have sort of different ways of being in the world, so I'm glad you brought that up. And also, this is a great reminder that we have a section on the wall there of how we can better support you, and I would love any sort of ideas like that, if anyone feels comfortable popping that kind of thing up on the wall. We're going to be taking these back home, but back to our hypothetical headquarters and really taking them into consideration. So that kind of thing is great, but I've also made a note too. So
Can you repeat the question too for the webcast?
oh, sure.
Maybe we could talk after the meeting and hear some good ideas around that. Would that be okay? Okay, thanks.
I hope you're in radio. What a voice you got there.
Oh, thank you. Of course.
Just a question, is there any kind of ADHD counseling per se, other than with your doctor or, you know, like with mental illness, I guess, with Richmond Center, of course, there's different things that you can go to. But is there such a thing like that here on PEI for the ADHD? Compared to peer groups?
Bear with me because I'm going to repeat the question to the best I can for the live feed because the mic is coming from the laptop. So the question was, paraphrasing, I apologize, whether there's other counseling options that are sort of ADHD focused apart from the support group. That basically, you might know some things. I know some things.
So I know that there's some, not a lot. It depends on, and there also may be finance. It may also be like, there may also be some like money may be an issue for some people as well. But I know that there is some people that have gone through the route of using an occupational therapist to help with workplace accommodations or to help with household accommodations. There are some people that have, depending on the severity of the diagnosis and this impairment function, have gotten accessibility services supports. And through accessibility services, depending on, again, on the severity of the issue of the ADHD as a spectrum, people have gone like one-on-one workers through that. I know that there is, that's through accessibility services supports. There's also, you know, you hear there's a lot of people that talk about ADHD coaching. We've had members of our organization take some online coaching, some through Halifax with Keith Gilmore, some through other organizations, other online things. Again, money can be an issue with that, depending on the state of depending on the person. I know that the ADHD clinic has a social worker. I don't know if they're specifically focused on ADHD coaching or more focused on helping individuals that are facing multiple barriers and also have ADHD. But I know that coaching and therapy and kind of some of the kind of other kind of stuff is, you know, was in the talk for the ADHD clinic at the beginning. And I think that that is part of it, is to have that kind of wraparound support. But I mean, there is so those are some of the things that are available currently. There is a kind of and then also like there may be, if you have a mental health worker, they may be able to help you in terms of just like organization and stuff, but may not necessarily be like ADHD focused or ADHD specific, right? Because if you look at it holistically, if you help the individual with depression, then you're also helping them with their ADHD. You help with their ADHD, you may also help with their anxiety, right? So again, just getting as much support as you can around you is a big focus. It's a big thing. So.
My comment just would be this: it's so hard to get into places.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
When you know your diagnosis, get your name on the list ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a year or more.
Can you repeat that for the folks at home?
For the folks at home, the recommendation was as soon as you have a diagnosis, sorry, I'm trying to get your name on a list because there can be quite a wait to get into places that offer that kind of service.
Like you want to mention disability tax credit too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another support that people can get is disability. Someone mentioned about bringing in mentioning the disability tax credit. And so I think that that is also a really great opportunity if you can access it through your doctor or something.
And just with that, just from people that I know that have gone through it, when you get confirmed with your disability tax credit, you are also able to go into a bank and get a RDSP.
Yeah, a registered
The government,
disability
yes,
savings plan.
that will match the money that you put in. So then 65 or however many years that you have to be, I'm not positive, but at least you have something.
Mm-hmm.
So to even access that.
Yeah, which is
go to the
great
bank, ask them.
for individuals that are.
All you need is your paper to say yes, you are entitled to
Yep,
disability
absolutely.
tax credit.
And just to reiterate to those online, the person had mentioned that with the, once you get the disability tax credit, you also, it makes you eligible for registered disability savings plan that you can get, and the government will provide matching funds to offset the loss of income to help people in retirement later on because of the disability. So that would be something that you can get if you have been approved for the disability tax credit. It's a process, so I would recommend that people do a lot of research with it and talk to their doctor or healthcare provider. And also, I would just say this warning generally, if you're going to research it online, avoid people that offer to do it online because it's unregulated and people can take upwards of 20 to 50% of the back pay that you get when you get eligible, which can be a significant amount of income, and it is free to put the application in. It's just difficult to get approved because it is one of the highest disability credits or it's one of the highest tax credits that the government gives out. So there's a lot of hurdles to jump through it, but I definitely recommend people go for it if people think that they're eligible and able to do it. Have a healthcare provider provide it. If there's any other questions, maybe we can have a conversation afterwards.
What do you call it? Disabilities? No.
That would be the disability tax credit.
No.
The registered disability savings plan.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
disability. Those people, they're awesome. So
Yeah.
fill out
That's
forms
amazing.
and stuff like that. And if you don't get it, they will fight for you to get it. Keep going back. No. What do they call them?
Resourceabilities is another not-for-profit organization that helps people with disabilities apply for those things.
Yeah.
Getting a little into it's really helpful. It's really good to know.
Learn a lot.
Yeah, so I might but looking at the time,
Yeah.
want to make sure we do have people who have time to get coffee and chat. Yeah.
Any last questions anyone want to sneak in?
In that, in that regard, the RDSP, everything documented.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. Paper. If you don't have it down in black and white, forget it. But get everything that your document has ever, even if it's 3 years ago, everything documented. Fun for it.
And people come.
Not currently. So the person's just asking if there's any peer support groups for teenagers. Currently, we only have peer support groups for adults. I don't know if there's anything else in the works, but that's a great one to pop on that wall too, because it's definitely there's so many. Everybody can do with talking to other people and feeling seen and understood. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Okay. Thank you all so much. I was not expecting people to sit so still, so I hope that you're all feeling okay. Thank you all so much for coming. This is massive, a huge milestone for our organization and for us as people and for Sandy especially. I think I'd like to really celebrate what you've done. Not kicking you out at all. We've still got heaps of time here. We've got heaps of coffee. Love to fill these walls and just, as much as you're comfortable, chat amongst ourselves and meet some people and make some connections. And I mean it, take all of the brochures. I don't want to see any of them by the time it's done. And we can also provide more. If you think you've got a spot where you can put a staff, let us know. We can provide some more. We do want people to know that we exist.
Did you say there was a copy of the slide?
Yep, there's some printed reports just at the back there on the table, and I can also, if
No, the
you,
slides, these.
I don't have that printed, but I can provide it if you.
And
like.
it'll be on,
Oh yeah, and it'll be online. You've got our Facebook.
No, I want friends.
We can talk.
I have one.
Oh yeah, we do have Sandy's copy here. Thank you so much, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.